Hi, welcome back to Family First conversations that are really important for us to have. This is episode 4 of a series in which we're having conversations about how to protect our children. And we are talking about fostering safe conversations with your children. The first thing we want to make sure when we're having conversations with our children that it's age appropriate ways to talk about predators. So when you're talking to younger children, use simple language like bad person, unfriendly man. Say things that the child will understand. And don't use words like, your vagina or penis. You just want to use words like private parts for right now. Because a lot of children are a little squeamish when their parents use those types of words when they're younger. And for the older children, you can introduce them to more specific examples of inappropriate behavior. You could talk about specific things that a person would be doing if it was inappropriate. You know, the second thing we need to do in order to foster a conversation with our children about predators is helping the children to trust their instincts. A lot of us don't trust our instincts. Sometimes our instincts will be telling us things and we'll ignore them. And that's not a good thing to do. So you want to teach your children to trust their own instincts. Encourage your child to listen to their gut feeling. What are you feeling? Are you nervous when you're around this person? Do you feel uneasy, uncomfortable? If someone makes your child feel uncomfortable, even if it is a family member or friend, they should tell you immediately. That is the conversation that every parent needs to have with your child. I don't care who he is. It could be your father, your uncle, your grandfather, be your aunt. It could be an auntie. It could be your sister. It could be a brother. If someone is making them feel uncomfortable, even if it is a family or friend, encourage them to tell you immediately. Immediately. It is so important. The third thing is in order to teach our children, to have the right conversation with our children about how to identify predators. The third thing we need to do is to empower our children to say no and report inappropriate behavior. We always want our children to, what they say, appease people. Don't teach them to be an appeaser. Don't teach them to be always trying to get along, go along. Teach them to say no. Say it loudly. If someone does something or asks them something that they feel is inappropriate, give them permission to say no and to make a scene saying it if necessary. We try to, oh, okay, be quiet, hush, hush. We don't want it. We want everybody to know. That man touched you. He bumped against you. If he showed his privates to you, if he tried to get you into his car, if he tried to make you come after school and stay in his classroom or in the locker room doing something, if he invited you after the church meeting to come into his office, you share that. You tell him no, and you tell him that you're going to report him to your parents. And I say, be careful. I sort of I want that child to let that person know. I'm not afraid to report this. And I don't like what you just done to me. It makes me uncomfortable. No, no. Ensure your children know it is okay to say no to any touching, to say no to any gifts, to say no to any favors that make them feel uncomfortable, like the person is seeking to buy their silence. This is all part of what we know and understand now as grooming. The fourth thing we want to make sure that our children know in this conversation is establishing regular check ins with your children is important. When your child leaves home going somewhere, you need to already have determined when you reach that destination, I need you to give me a call. So many times things have happened to children and they've disappeared, and people say, well, when was the last time you talked to them? When was the last time you seen them? And it's been hours. No child should leave going anywhere without their parent knowing when they reach that destination and when they're leaving that destination to return. There needs to be daily and weekly and hourly check ins. It should be a habit that you discuss that when you get to school with your friends, online activities. This will help create a routine. So if something is off or wrong, it won't be hours and days and weeks before you notice that something has changed in your child's habits. Because if you have a regular check in, just imagine if you have a regular, if the little girl would have had a regular check in with her mother that ended up being raped, and now her mother's, sadly is having to plan a funeral. Just imagine if her and her daughter had established regular check-in times. If the girl would have called, the mother would have checked where she was in terms of a locator. It would have been I would hope that it would have at least reduced the probability that she would have ended up being harmed. So it is important that we establish regular check-ins. And I don't even say that for just children. You have adults and they don't live in the same city or state with you. It's important that you create an environment where you have check-ins, where if that person mixed that check-in, it lets you know that something is off. So that is all that we're going to talk about in our episode today is just appropriate, be having a conversation with your child and doing it, in a way that is appropriate to their age and giving them some tools that they can use. Episode 5, we're going to be responding to warning signs of abuse. We're going to be looking at different things and different behaviors and emotional changes in children that may indicate abuse. That's what we're going to be looking at in episode 5. So I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. If you have any questions or any topics that you even want me to discuss next, just send me a comment, leave a note, and I will research it and we'll have a conversation about it. If you are a young parent that you need some advice about something and you don't feel like you have anywhere that you can go to ask someone, just drop me a comment and I'll be more than happy to help you as best I can. And if I can't, I'll find a resource that you can check with someone that has the wise, sound advice to help you. May God richly bless you and may you find his goodness covering you all through the day. God bless you. Talk to you soon.